Sup, nerds? Future Ryan here. What you're about to watch is the final video essay that I recorded in Nacho HQ1, my old apartment office, before I moved. So, yeah, that's why the set behind me looks different in this little intro cold open, and why it will look different in the rest of the video. So, without further ado, throw to the intro, and thank you guys for understanding. Professional wrestling and magic are very similar. Both are built on this idea of illusion, this sleight of hand, this every match, every angle, everything like that is supposed to be believable. It is supposed to help build around the match, build around the promo, anything like that. It is supposed to do something that helps the fans put emotional investment into the shows, despite all these over-the-top characters and over-the-top energies that we see on screen, and despite sometimes the matches feeling a little too chaotic, a little too unreal, a little too unnatural, depending on the company. You, more often than not, see that wrestling fans are going to believe in the handful of wrestlers. They are going to enjoy the handful of wrestlers that feel more authentic, that feel more real, and we are going to talk about one of the pioneers, one of the biggest authentic wrestlers, and I don't mean that just because he's more of a house-built wrestler. That's right, today we are talking about the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe. Wrestling is a lot like sports in the way that it is constantly evolving, getting better, getting more athletic, just like basketball and how basketball has evolved from the slow-moving game that it was back in the 60s and 70s to the fast-paced, high-octane game we see today here in the 2020s, or football, with how football has become completely different than what it was back in the 70s or 80s, and everything the same that I just balls. Like I was saying before I got tongue-tied, everything in sports is evolving, everything is getting better, everything is getting more athletic, and that can be said about professional wrestling too. These wrestlers are conditioning themselves better, they're getting more athletic, they're getting faster, they're getting stronger. It's like the damn Lab Rats intro from Disney XD. They are becoming bionic to a certain extent. And, to some, I actually question their, bionic capabilities. You, Will Ospreay. But this vast evolution of professional wrestling is why it is so important to refine all aspects of your game, to refine the promos, to refine the in-ring stuff, to refine the physique, whatever your physique may be, because not all physiques are bad. No physiques are bad. You could be built like Samoa Joe or Kevin Owens or Eddie Kingston, or try to think of an even bigger guy, Yokozuna. You could be built like that, but still have good matches and still be in a decent in-ring shape. It doesn't have to be built like John Cena or built like the Warrior. Like, that's idiotic. But if you lack in any of these areas, whether it be the physical build, or whether it be the look and presentation, or whether it be the in-ring stuff or the promo stuff, you are going to create emotional disconnect with the fans. And more importantly, and more likely, an emotional disconnect with your bosses. I mean, imagine if you go out there, you think you have this great gimmick, and creative is like, yeah, sure, go do it. And you go out there and you do it, and it falls flat. They're never giving you another chance, Buster. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you go back to catering. But while some of these wrestlers feel like performers who are doing sequences and promos for the millionth rehearsed time, Samoa Joe is not one of those guys. He goes out there and he feels like the absolute real deal. And the greatest thing about that is that he really hasn't had to change his look since like 2008, 2009. Most tough guys in professional wrestling try to prove that they are tough, that they are badass, that they are Tommy Tough Knuckles or Billy Badass by doing something a little over the top, a little loud, a little obnoxious, and this is not always going to work. Case in point, MJF's more recent attempts at being a shock jock sort of style promo with saying things that are a little risque, a little too crazy. Yeah, sure, it worked a little bit here and there, but going towards the low-hanging fruit, going towards the jokes that are a little more raunchy, a little more TV-14, if you will, just don't really work all the time. You gotta mix it up here and there, if you will, MJF. And the same thing could be said for guys like Roman Reigns, or guys like CM Punk, or even Cody Rhodes to an extent. Like, all those guys, they tend to hit the same beats in their promos. I'm gonna smash you. I'm gonna stack you. And I'm gonna pin you. And you're gonna acknowledge me. Like, it's wash, rinse, repeat, and just replace the wrestler with Roman Reigns. And the same thing can be said about CM Punk nowadays, and Cody Rhodes, and a lot of guys in WWE. They seem to just recycle the same story beats, and that tends to lead to the same promos happening over and over again. But no matter if it's this over-the-top, loud, obnoxious promo style, or recycling the same stuff over and over again, there is this emotional disconnect. There is this idea that fans are starting to slip out of the reality that the wrestling company, whether it be WWE, AEW, TNA, or whatever, whether it's one of those companies or whether it's a local indie you're at, it is slowly slipping every time they do something silly. Every time they do something that takes you out of it, your enjoyment of it is also slowly slipping. And while all these guys that are out here that are slowly clawing away at your attention and making you want to do something else, these wannabe tough guys, you know what Samoa Joe's doing? He's reeling you back in. He's saying something casual on the mic in a slow and smooth voice that really gets your attention. Or he's doing something in the ring that gets you to chuckle, or laugh, or ooh, or ah, or anything like that. Samoa Joe is one of the more versatile guys in today's game, and he's been doing it for 20 plus years. It's this idea of Joe being a master of less is more that allows him to establish this, I don't even know the word, space, establish this area in the wrestling community. As one of the most loved wrestlers, I don't see a lot of people hating on Joe. I see people, saying, oh, imagine if Joe was like a little skinnier. Like, all right, shut up, Chud. Like, no, I don't care if Joe is skinnier. He's perfect the way he is. He's the statue of David. He's beautiful. He's magnificent. He should be put in a museum, goddammit. But even down to his entrance, Samoa Joe comes out in a smooth, casual pace. He saunters to the ring with no real care in the world. No real, I'm trying to think of the word here, fear? Not fear, but he's not worried. He's not going in, whether he's facing someone a little bit bigger than him, or whether he's facing the weekly cruiserweight from AEW Collision, he is not scared. He goes out there with this confidence, this machismo, and it is this confidence and machismo that is amplified 10 times once the bell rings. See, one of the biggest problems in modern wrestling today is that it feels too choreographed. Thanks, Will Ospreay and Ricochet. Whether it be any of the major companies out there today, or whether it be your local indie, you see them sitting there waiting for a spot, waiting to catch the wrestler from a high-flying dive. You see it, it takes you out of it, it brings back that emotional disconnect that we've talked about so much today. The athleticism still may be incredible, the feats of strength still may be amazing, but if it feels too choreographed, if it feels too staged, if it feels like we can see the spot being set up 5 moves ahead of time, is it really still that interesting? Samoa Joe completely avoids all of this by feeling real, by feeling like a genuine amateur wrestling match. The way he goes out there, the way he grapples and moves around and incorporates strikes with his wrestling opponents, the way he goes out there and the way he does all this. Plus, on top of that, he never really feels like he's helping the wrestler do the move. He's forcing the wrestler to do it himself. And now, of course, he's not sandbagging the wrestler. He is genuinely, jumping up with a powerbomb. But there's something about it. There's something in Samoa Joe's behavior that allows him to do it in a way that is just a little different. That doesn't seem cooperative, if you will. And whether it be the classic Samoa Joe walking away from a dive, or whether it be Samoa Joe doing a little Bobby Shmurda dance in the corner, he has fun with this believability. He has fun with this idea of not letting your opponent know your next move, not letting your opponent get one up on you. Because, yeah, why would I stand there and wait for you to hit a power bomb or wait for you to hit a crossbody on me when I can just walk out of the way? It's one of the more ingenious things in professional wrestling. MJF has stolen it recently. He's kind of taken it, made it his own. He'll do like a little and run away instead of like a casual saunter. The real genius of Samoa Joe, though, is that he understands that yes, these fights are choreographed, they are scripted, they are not real in nature, but real fights are chaotic, they are unnatural, they are sloppy. And if wrestling is supposed to be presented as this sports program that is scripted in entertainment and everything like that, but yet it's presented as authentic and real and everything like that, then shouldn't the fights be also presented as authentic and real and feel authentic and real? And that is one of the real geniuses of Samoa Joe, because he simply wrestles like a man trying to win a fight, not someone simply performing choreographed moves. Samoa Joe's offense is violent, but more importantly, it feels and looks effective. It looks legit. It looks like a shoot fight. And while so many other wrestlers do things that feel choreographed, they do flips, they do stunts, they do suicide dives, anything and everything in between. While they do all of that, Samoa Joe does stuff similarly, but there are a few differences here and there. Because while so many wrestlers, like I said, do all these high-flying, high-octane moves and confuse being fast and flashy for being impactful, Joe understands that being impactful and being violent often happens when it comes at its most simplest form. Every jab, every chop, every elbow, every violence party in the corner, all of it, every muscle buster, every coquina clutch feels like it's authentic, it feels real, but it also doesn't really do a lot. But it does at the same time. It feels impactful, yet it doesn't blow my mind. As, what's the bee's name from the Bee movie? Barry's friend. Alan? Hey, Pete. Ladies and gentlemen, short intermission for Pete the Cat. Before I was so cutely interrupted by my cat Pete, Samoa Joe's offense, all of it from the jabs to the chops, all the way to the Uranagis and even the Coquina Clutch and Muscle Buster, it all feels authentic, it all feels powerful, it all feels genuine, I guess is the best word to use here. There is no wasted movement, there's no excessive taunting, except like I mentioned earlier, the one time he hit the Bobby Shmurda. I think, was that on Max Caster, by the way? Maybe. Whoever he hit the Bobby Shmurda on, Man, fuck you. I briefly mentioned the coquina clutch, but something as so simple as a submission move with Samoa Joe has an explosiveness to it, similar to the Os Cutter or the Styles Clash or anything like that, those high impact, driving moves or high flying moves or anything like that. That's something that Joe does with submission moves, is he makes them feel like a huge, oh my God, moment. When you get locked in the coquina clutch, consider the match over most of the time. When you get hit with a muscle buster, consider the match over most of the time. That's why Joe doesn't hit it a lot, because people expect the match to be over. They protect that move hella, so much so that they don't even do it anymore. That's the crazy part. It's not even banned in AEW. I just can't remember the last time it's been hit. Someone's gonna tell me in the comments, I hope. Please. It's all these moves, it's all this impactfulness that allows Samoa Joe to feel like one of the most real guys in wrestling today, and for the past couple of years as well. His hits feel heavy, his hits feel authentic, and all of that put together allows Samoa Joe to reach a sense of realism in professional wrestling that a lot of professional wrestlers just can't replicate today. A lot of wrestling characters feel exaggerated. They yell constantly, they laugh too hard, they cry too loud, they do something a little too over the top. Whatever it may be, they do something that just kind of irks people the wrong way and turns them off from wanting to watch them, or maybe from wanting to watch the product altogether. Samoa Joe stands out from these comic book level villains that are just filling arenas with crowd noise. He stands out amongst these guys as real, as authentic, because he just goes out there, he's just there. He's just Joe. He's just chill Joe. He feels like an actual adult. He feels like someone who has not only his emotions in check, but also someone who tries to be level-headed. While yeah, sometimes he may be in the wrong, he may not always be the most forgiving guy, but he does have the best interest of him, and whether he has a faction at the time, his faction mates, he has those best interests at heart at all times. What makes Joe the most compelling to me personally is his emotional restraint. Yes, sometimes he does get a little loud, he can get a little more aggressive, there can be a little more, not timber, like bass in his voice, I guess is the best word I can come up with. But he goes out there and he cuts a promo. The best one I can think of is his promo against AJ Styles back in SummerSlam 2017. All the stuff with AJ and his wife Wendy, and Samoa Joe would be like, AJ, does this house look familiar? This is your home, AJ. Let's go visit Mrs. Styles. He was so calm. He wasn't theatrical with it. He wasn't out there saying, oh, AJ, look at me, I'm at your house. He wasn't doing anything stupid like that. I tend to think the other house break-in thing that is memorable for a lot of people, the Triple H Randy Orton one from 2009, and how TV drama filled that was, how movie-esque shot it was, compared to the more subtle tones of the Samoa Joe break-in. You could see where Samoa Joe's calm demeanor in his promos feels legit, feels real, and feels like something that is actually going to make your skin crawl, compared to watching Triple H just, seethe in a leather jacket in Randy Orton's fake house. To round out this chapter, Samoa Joe feels intelligent. He feels observant. He takes a look at what every wrestler has to say, whether he's doing a multi-man promo or whether it's a 1v1 promo. He looks at everything that's going on around him, and he uses all of that to his advantage, none more so than the SmackDown promo in 2016 or 2018, when he comes out there and he eviscerates all the top guys on SmackDown: Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Orton. The list goes on and on. He literally tore them all down. The most iconic one, I think, is the one about Jeff Hardy going back to AA meetings, which fucked up, but funny. It's this intelligence, it's this observance that allows Samoa Joe to have a sense of realism, and it's this sense of realism within Samoa Joe that makes him feel dangerous, and way more dangerous than these larger-than-life gimmicks will ever feel. Modern wrestling rarely feels violent anymore. Yes, the matches are athletic and the moves are impressive, don't get me wrong, but very few wrestlers come out and change the entire atmosphere of a show whenever they return or show up on screen, like the way Samoa Joe does. Whenever there's a segment with Joe, whether it be in ring, whether it be backstage, or whether it be Joe entering the frame, there is a level of danger that is suddenly aware within the scene for not only the fellow wrestlers within the scene and the promo or the fans in the crowd. They see Samoa Joe, they immediately think something's gonna go down, something's gonna be said, we might see a fight, we might see some brawling, like who knows, you know? And that's the great part about Joe, is that Joe allows for people to immediately buy into the concept of, oh shit's about to go down. Shit just got real. Not a lot of wrestlers do that today. Part of this comes from the sudden violence from Joe. You think about him and Hangman standing off against each other before their Full Gear steel cage match, and how he kind of just... All of this comes from Joe's ability to be suddenly violent. He does not waste his time trying to convince audiences that what he's doing is violent. He just does it, and he knows that this audience is going to buy in what he's doing. And part of that, yes, is of course, he's built up a pretty good brand identity for himself over the past 20 years as the guy who's, you know, big, strong, fast, agile, and, you know, not to steal from Bryan Danielson, probably gonna kick your head in. But what truly creates Joe's aura is how these other wrestlers that are involved with him that I mentioned in these promos, in these matches, how they react to him. They look at Joe like, not like he's some just old vet. They look at him like he's still in his prime, like he could still kick some ass. I think it's part of the story with Hangman and Joe back during Full Gear, is that Hangman kinda underestimated Joe a little. Like he thought him and Joe were chill, and then Joe was like, we ain't chill. You know, obviously that happened like before the build up to Full Gear. That was like at the last pay-per-view when Joe won the belt. I don't remember that timeline. It hasn't been long. I just don't remember. I have bad memory. Bad memory aside, crowds get quieter when Samoa Joe speaks, and they get louder when he's in the ring. And like I said, the atmosphere changes when Samoa Joe is around, because the crowd knows that shit is about to go down, that shit is about to get real when Samoa Joe is involved. Wrestling will always continue to evolve, the moves will get crazier, the production will get bigger, and the athletes will of course continue to push what is physically possible inside the ring. But no matter how much wrestling changes, authenticity within these wrestlers, within the wrestling itself, will always connect the fans to the wrestlers and to each other. Samoa Joe proves that realism still matters in today's wrestling. Audiences don't need wrestling to necessarily feel real. If they wanted that, they'd go watch UFC. They just need to be able to believe in the emotions. They need to be able to look at the wrestlers and say, yeah, the character you're portraying, that's legit. That's real. I could genuinely see you being that person. Or more simply, they just want it to feel human. Joe is believable, not of course because wrestling is a legitimate competition, but because, like I've been saying this whole video, he feels believable. He feels authentic, real, whatever you want to say, whatever synonym you want to come up with, that is what Samoa Joe is. The most important phrase I think I can say is that his violence feels motivated. It feels earned instead of performative. Us fans subconsciously recognize this authenticity, this legitness, this, lack of performativeness, if that's even a word. We often recognize this and attach ourselves to a wrestler and ride with that wrestler from company to company. None more so than Samoa Joe, who has been this same tough, badass SOB from Ring of Honor to TNA to WWE to NXT to AEW. He's done it all. He's done it everywhere. And I'm probably even leaving out some other major indie companies as well. But he has done so much for the wrestling business. He is one of the more unsung heroes from the past few years. He could and should go down as one of the more underrated wrestlers, I would say. I don't think a lot of people give Joe enough credit for just how much he's done for bigger guys in professional wrestling. Bigger guys that can move, especially. Well, that is it for today's video. What did you guys think about it down in the comments below? Let me know, what is your favorite aspect of Samoa Joe's professional wrestling game? Is it his promos? It is his in-ring work? Or is it something else entirely? Like I said, let me know down in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload from Nacho Wrestling. And I will see you guys next time.